Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Tuesday, June 30th, 2020, 9:30 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Red Barn Games is in the house. How you doing, Red? It's a Cartography and Worldbuilding day. Getting back to our regular schedule after a hell of a great time checking out a bunch of Harryhausen movies since last Thursday. We watched we watched 9 different movies. It was really fantastic. We did a video on each one, 2 a day on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and 1 yesterday. And we did a review from a DM's perspective on each of those movies, and we checked out a bunch of screenshots from them to give us some perspective and also to contextualize our comments of review. They're a lot of fun. They're casual. They're not anything to write home about from the standpoint of critical acclaim or critical greatness. But you'll find them interesting. There's a ton of little ideas in there, and if you're not familiar with the films, I think you'll still be able to follow along with them. If you are familiar with the films, you'll probably get an even bigger kick out of them. Today, however, we're back to the old schedule. We're going to be checking out a Dyson Logos outdoor map that was just made available last week as a commercial release. He is supported on Patreon. I've been a Patreon supporter of his for just about 5 years now, and I'll tell you, he just keeps churning stuff out more and more and more. And he's always diversifying. He's always asking his supporters what they'd like to see. He recently did a very cool street level map of a handful of businesses all in line on a street with a couple of alleyways and multiple doors and multiple businesses, different types. It's very cool. You should check that out on his website too, DysonLogos.com, and then support him. It's a great guy. So today, it's Cartography and Worldbuilding Day, and I thought we'd take a look at this map because this is a fairly new. Occasionally he would do a sort of an outdoor overland map, but this one's a new one. And as you can see from the map, here I'm going to get a bigger look at it for myself here. We've got what appears to be a trail. We've got an outdoor farm. I'm starting at the lower left. Outdoor farm. You see some farmlands around there on a sleepy little lake. There's this mile marker or small obelisk further along the trail just to the west. If you continue to the west, there's a bridge that crosses over. It looks like a tower. On this sleeve, there's actually a tower. I recently did a virtual tabletop adventure building series on, so you could check those out too. It looks like it would match up with this nicely, and I almost guarantee he did that on purpose, and I'm just noticing it now. So there you go, huh? Red? Takes me a minute sometimes. I'm not sure if we go back to the east now along the river on the other side. I'm not sure what this little almost looks like a pumpkin from this view. What do you think that is there? What do you think that is? Can you see where I'm pointing with my cursor here? Red, I'm going to get your opinion on this. The trail that continues behind this copse of trees and then up a trail, a pass that looks like a pass through the mountains. On this side, there's some interesting ruins set up over there, it looks like. On the other side of the lake there. We go further down, it looks like there's some sort of thing at the top of the cliff above the waterfall. And you know, there was another old dwarven stronghold map that included a waterfall and an exit below at the waterfall. as part of it. I wonder if he's evoking that with this little section way over here. Pretty cool if it would be. And then I will guess that this little farmland here would be similar to a roadside inn that he probably created, because I'm guessing that a lot of this stuff, more of it than I realize at first glance, is stuff that he's made additional maps for, so it probably ties a lot of these things together. Notice down here toward the middle, about a quarter of the way above the word supported on the map. Greetings, Thaddeus Moore. How you doing, buddy? We're checking out a Dyson Logos overland map here. Very nice, isn't it? There's a little cave there, isn't there? About 25% on the map above the word supported in the side of that hill. Looks like there's a little cave there. Could do something with that too. So seriously, what he's done here is created an overland map that ties at least a few other maps of his together. Sure, there's nothing in the caves, says Thaddeus Moore. Probably just 10 feet or so. Yeah, probably just goes in, a little hollow. Probably nothing in there. Maybe some gumdrops or something safe. Maybe some jelly babies. Just a few little delicious treats that you could just pick up and eat for free. Surprise, trapdoor, says Thaddeus Moore. And that would be the way to do it, right? Get inside and then trapdoor in the floor, and at least one or two of the party members go down a chute down to, what do you think? We'll roll a d12 and add 5 down to potentially level 17 of a vicious dungeon, but no less than level 13. Because, when you're a TPKDM, you've got to throw this out. Let's follow that river from left to right here. It goes under a bridge. It looks like we've got another little waterfall down to a bit of a pond or a small pool. The river then continues. We got a small lake here. River continues. We got another waterfall. Splashes down. Is that a double waterfall? It kind of looks like that because of these extra cliffs here, huh? You've got to swim it. You do. Maybe that's the alternate entrance through that pool. Yep, over here. So that's a lower level then. We can tie that all together with multiple levels of a dungeon in these hills here, and maybe they continue to go under the river, and there's an entryway over by this ruins on the other side of the lake, and another entryway over in the bottom of this tower over here. And heck, if you run them underneath the mountains, you can have incredible number of levels and mines and all sorts of things. Look, we've made a mega dungeon just from looking at this map. Got a JQ that dungeon, that's right. Janelle would be so proud if we looked at this and immediately thought of something of hers to, or her style of adventure design. General Googleos, hey, how you doing there? Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you taking some time to be on our stream here. I should very quickly grab a few of your names off of the chat and add you in for week 14 of the show's giveaway. General Googleos, I want to make sure that you know that anybody who follows the channel and speaks up in the stream chat is automatically added into a weekly drawing that we do. It's free. There's no purchase necessary or anything like that. This week we'll be giving away a badge to Virtual Gamehole Con. It's a admission to their virtual version of their convention coming up in November. That is, we just added you, Red Barn Games. We didn't get you in here this week yet either, so we got to add you in there. General Googleos, if you are also following the channel, we put you in on that too. And then we'll be all set. Well, we've had a lot of people in. Of course, we did an extra show on Sunday. So that helps with the number of people that have the opportunity to visit during a stream, which is good. Yeah, I'm following. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. How many of you are planning on doing virtual Gamehole Con in November? I imagine some of you get out to some game days or regular conventions at some point, maybe in the past or in the future had planned to, and this year's kind of screwing up your convention attendance opportunities, huh? Thaddeus is up for it. I know Jason Hobbs is intending to go. I'm going. Heath from the Antipodean D20, our man in Adelaide, Australia. He's the best. Everybody loves him. And there's a good reason. I think it's because he looks like Kevin Turner. Have you ever noticed that? That's a good look for anyone, of course. Well, not me. I'm in Germany, so I mostly play in German cons. Very good. Do you get to Essen? That's like the biggest gaming convention in the world, I believe. And I know it's huge for board games. I'm sure they must have RPGs and war games and Magic card games, other card games. But definitely a huge board gaming convention. They debut a lot of stuff there. People look at it like it's the European Gen Con, but quite honestly, it's far surpasses even Gen Con, I believe, in size. I think Gen Con's topped out somewhere just under 100,000. I think they had a little bigger crowd for their 50th anniversary, but I'm not sure if that was true the following year, last year. Essen, I think. Boy, I'm telling you, it's been a while since I've looked that kind of information up. But as I recall, they were 150, 200,000 people at the Essen Game Fair. And that's just amazing. I think that if Gen Con ever got that big, they might have to move even away from Indianapolis to some larger potential venue. I know when they moved out of Milwaukee, they had looked at Chicago, very expensive. Of course, it's a lot of reasons for that, but of course it's a big city. And they were trying to stay in the middle of the United States so that they could continue to draw from both coasts as well as be in driving distance for a lot of people in the Midwest and in the South. And Indianapolis turned out to be a great fit for them, but at this point they're using the floor of only Vegas is larger, maybe Chicago. Yeah, Thaddeus, good point. Gen Con is at a capacity 60K. They're bigger than 60K. They're 80 plus, and I think the 50th anniversary year they went even higher than that. And you know, a lot of it is drive in for a day to be a part of it, do the looky-loo thing, walk through the convention vendor hall, get around, see the sights, and maybe not actually even do any gaming. Not my style. If I go to a convention, well, I like to start gaming sometime around 10 a.m. and not before. But and I don't go much past midnight anymore. But I like to have stuff scheduled for all day long with a little break, half hour, hour and a half, depending on how the schedule works out with what my games are. Little break for lunch, little break for dinner, usually a later lunch, 1-ish, if I can do it, since I'm not starting till 10. BRB. Thaddeus Moore's going to check attendance levels at Gen Con. He wants to be sure. And I don't blame him. We could look that stuff up ourselves, too. So what do you think, General Googleos? Are you an Essen Game Fair guy? Do you like smaller conventions over there? Are you one day game day type guy? Do you like to check out those smaller venues when they have them? Do you have a local game shop that you regularly game at there? For myself, gaming at the game store is what I've always been mostly all about. So when there's a big convention like Gen Con, well, it's every few years is enough for me to get something like that. And honestly, it's been about 5-6 years. It's a little big at this point for me to feel comfortable if I have games on opposite sides of a convention and I've got to walk a mile or more between games. It gets a little tricky. Plus, southern Wisconsin, you've got GaryCon right in town here in Lake Geneva. Gamehole Con's just a little over an hour, and Nexus is right up in Milwaukee or just on the outskirts of Milwaukee. That's usually less than an hour to get to. Until more recently, Gamehole Con, or rather the Gaming Hoopla, was a regular board gaming event that was here in southern Wisconsin. It's kind of slid off down into Illinois and got a little further and further away from Wisconsin, which is a shame. It may wind up getting replaced by some other local thing. I know that kind of the Lakes did a one-day thing the last couple of years. They had to go virtual this year. I hope they had a good turnout. The other things that happen around here are usually one-day game day events. They did something at the Horticultural Hall just last year. It was sort of a RPG-centric D&D day. I think they had a couple other RPGs, but mostly D&D. It was an introductory sort of thing that was sponsored by the Geneva Lake Museum and the Lake Geneva Public Library. And we threw in our support from Lake Geneva Games behind them as well. General Google says we do have a lot of tabletop cons here. I don't think as many as the USA, but still, the problem is that they are only in large cities, but then there are like 3 of them in those cities each, and there is only one that is in my region frequently, the Gratis Rollenspieltag. Yeah, that's a free board game day. Am I translating that correctly? Rollenspiel? Is that role playing? Oh, a free role play day. Okay, which is only one day a year. Is that tied to our free RPG day here in the United States? Is that run by the same people, or is that a separate, non-associated event? Free role play day. There you go. I know I'm on a bit of delay, so pardon me if I get out ahead of you on some of the questions that I answer myself because I'm guessing. Just tried my best. I had a few years of German in high school, but that's a long time ago. When I was growing up, some of my best friends, their parents had come over from Germany, and we played hockey, and we played D&D, and we played war games and board games together in the 70s. And because they had grown up in a German-speaking household with their parents, I picked up a bit as I was growing up, and when they all took German in high school, because it helped them learn the language more that they got some of around the house, but weren't learning it formally around the house, and were born here in the U.S., so they didn't grow up with it around them all the time. So they took German in high school, and I just followed suit. I could have taken Spanish or French or German, and I chose German because that's what my friends were doing, and it's a fascinating language. Fascinating and just a wonderful, wonderful language. Well structured and very expressive. It's interesting the number of words they have for things that we don't even have a word for. Certain moods and attitudes. Schadenfreude, I think, is one, right? It's there's no direct translated word. But anyway, I digress. We were talking about the map, which we talked about a bit. Any other thoughts on this map from folks that are here in the chat? We kind of went over it blow by blow, followed the trail. Any idea? I'm going to point to it once again. It's in the upper left quadrant. Looks kind of like a rounded, I don't know if that's supposed to be a chimney and smoke coming out of it, or if it's a ruins, or standing stones, or I don't know. What do you think? I'm a little vexed on this one. I think we've made the call on everything else, but this particular see, it has this kind of pumpkin shape to it, which is throwing me off. Maybe it's a maybe it's another little group of trees or something. Let's zoom in on it. Put it right in the center of the. What do we think? I want to keep some things around it for context. So I don't know if zooming in any further than this would make any difference. No, I did not draw this map. Hey, Silent Willow, thanks for stopping in the chat. As it says on the bottom of the map, this is a Dyson Logos map. DysonLogos.com. It's one of his commercial maps. You can support him on Patreon, but definitely go to DysonLogos.com and have a look at all he does. He's just got so much stuff over there. You can always find something. Silent Willow, are you aware that if you follow the channel and speak up in the chat, you're automatically added in for our weekly drawing? This is week 14, obviously day 3, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And no thanks, I don't care. Oh, you don't want to be in the drawing, and you don't care for the map. Okay. Fair enough. Very good. What maps do you like, Silent Willow? Have you used, do you make your own maps, or do you... Make your own. Very good. Oh, no, he puts these up free on his website. He's got a Patreon to help support his efforts, but he just puts out all sorts of... This is one of the few overland maps he does. He's mainly known for his dungeon maps and closer scale maps of ruins and towers, taverns and inn. He puts out a tavern or an inn every single month and has been doing that for years and years. So he has literally dozens of tavern and inn maps on his website. He releases them under Creative Commons. Most of them are for just for personal use, although he does a handful, 2, 3, 4, 5 every month that he releases as commercial releases under Creative Commons. But he sells a few collections of them up on Drive-Thru-RPG and some sites like that. But for the most part, his stuff's free. You can go grab it. You can just use it. And you do topographical maps and then 3D city maps mostly. And that's pretty nifty. Can link a few samples. Are these things you do for sale, or are these things that you do primarily for yourself and then you just share them? There we go. Get the full map in here. There we go. the moment exclusively for myself and the writing. There you go. You have a blog where you put stuff up and discuss your work at all, your setting, your campaign, your homebrew. And just out of curiosity, I'm a first edition D&D guy mainly myself, although I've run them all. What is your system of choice for when you put stuff together? That's always a good question for people, since sometimes that can be very influential on what you design and how you design it. Yeah, is that you're saying second edition? Okay. Very homebrewish. Sure, I don't think there aren't a lot of people that play rules as written when it comes to earlier edition Dungeons and Dragons or any RPG. A lot of people borrow rules from other game systems or from other editions and port them in because they're a good idea. They work with the mix that they're doing, with the campaigns that they're running. Certainly, and here's a kind of a world building point, I guess, since we're on Cartography and Worldbuilding Day. A lot of people will pick up setting stuff, cultures and character classes, races, and various other things like that from other games or from other editions and port them into whatever edition or game system they're running because it's a setting consideration, something that fits well in their homebrew or something that fills a gap or a void. It's always a good idea to skim through, read other systems and settings and games to find where there's stuff you can pick up. Gotcha. Okay. Well, there's a lot. That second N, that was like lead weights on a drowning man's neck. Okay. Yeah, that's always something that doesn't fit your style of play in any game system, that feels like it's restrictive, and so you remove it from the game. But listen, we're coming up on the half hour, so we're going to shut this baby down for a little bit. And I want to thank everybody who popped into the chat today. Had some good interaction, and I appreciate that very much. I want to remind everybody, if you're a follower of the channel and you speak up in the chat, you'll be added in for free into the weekly drawing, so that's always fun. This week on offer is a free admission to Gamehole Con, virtual Gamehole Con, coming up in November, I think it overlaps. I think it's end of October, early November. So there you go. That's something worth checking out, even if it's just for the seminars. I also want to do a quick reminder to everybody that we're still working on our old school zine, an old school medieval fantasy games periodical, OS Zine, which will be coming up in the not too distant future. Keep an eye out for that. Our schedule is every day, 9:30 a.m. Today, Cartography and Worldbuilding. Tomorrow, my Grimwald setting mostly, but just in general, campaign discussion. Thursday, we do some terrain crafting and miniature painting stuff. The building adventures on Friday, and lately we've been focusing up, for obvious reasons, on virtual tabletop adventures. We do DM perspective cartoon reviews on Saturday. I think we'll get back to a Conan episode, Conan the Adventurer animated series. I think episode 5 should be this Saturday. This next Sunday, Rules Retrospective. I'm not quite sure what we're going to get onto. We just finished up a series, not yesterday or not 2 days ago, but the previous Sunday, and we did all the Harryhausen stuff. over the last weekend. On Monday, the weekly news and giveaway announcement, and then full circle back around to cartography and campaign building. Thanks again if you're following the channel, and if you're catching up with this on YouTube, please do subscribe. Give us a click for a like, maybe make a comment. Always can use the feedback. I want to thank everybody once again. Have a great day.